Welcome to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Now here's your host, Tim McMahon.
On this date in 1932, 85 years ago in Floral Park, New York, John Towner Williams was born. John Williams, the maestro, the greatest film composer of all time. A man so accomplished in his field that there are entire podcasts devoted just to his work. And as we all know, podcasts are the true mark of greatness. I was going to make today's episode of Less Than 12 Parsecs be my top 5 favorite themes from the Star Wars soundtracks. But try as I might, I just couldn't narrow it down to 5. I really couldn't. Plus, a 10-second snippet of each of these themes would just not do them justice, even though I know you've heard them all before. So instead, I'll try to keep this brief and share a few memories and opinions about Mr. Williams and his work. After Star Wars came out in the late 70s, I desperately wanted the Star Wars album for my record player. Somehow, I ended up with a knockoff album that had music from many films on it. Star Wars was there, but so was Close Encounters, and Rocky, and Orca? I still haven't seen that film to this day. And it wasn't the original recordings either. It was something like the Detroit Municipal Orchestra performing. I know I'm getting the details about this all wrong, and I haven't seen that album in decades, but what I remember is that it was bad. Horribly bad. And yet, I played the Star Wars theme over and over and over again. 1,000 times more than all the other tracks put together. Later in my life, after Jedi came out, I believe it was 1984 or 85, I had the chance to see John Williams in concert in Boston, conducting the Boston Pops. I was so excited because I knew that John Williams was Mr. Star Wars music. Unfortunately, the concert we went to did not involve any of his own compositions, but still, it was cool to see the maestro at work. My local 501st Garrison has had the opportunity to troupe at Pop's concert where John Williams has been conducting, but I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. Fingers crossed, though. But all of that's in the past. Let's jump to the modern day. Today, John Williams turned 85. Now, I don't say this to be morbid, but the man does have more days behind him than in front of them. Honestly, I probably do too. But as we recently sadly learned with the passing of Carrie Fisher, our heroes won't be with us forever. However, his music will last forever, specifically his Star Wars music. But I worry that Star Wars music won't be the same without John Williams. Now, there have been some great Star Wars soundtracks where John Williams did not pen the music. I'm a huge fan of the Star Wars The Old Republic video game soundtrack. And don't laugh, but the Shadows of the Empire soundtrack isn't half bad. But I like these albums because the composers are trying very hard to copy Williams and his style. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery after all. But if you look at the Rogue One soundtrack, if you look at that as a sign of things to come, well, that's what I'm worried about. I feel like the Rogue One soundtrack is more background music and less thematic than the saga soundtracks. I can't hum for you Jin's theme, and I can't even tell you if Krennic had his own piece of music, but I sure as heck can for Luke and Vader. And yes, I get it. It wasn't the saga movie. It wasn't an episode film. It was trying to be different. But to me, the music is such a big part of Star Wars that if you change that, well then you're changing Star Wars. The only time Rogue One made my ears perk up was when it had little hints of Williams' music woven into its own tapestry. Look, I'm not bashing Michael Giacchino. He has more musical talent in his little finger than I have in 1,000 lifetimes worth of bodies. But, in my opinion, he strayed too far from the map that Williams first drafted. He made it a bit too much of his own thing instead of playing within the boundaries of Williams' style. Now, I'm sure there's an argument to be had here about artistry versus being a hack, but this is Less Than 12 Parsecs and we don't have time for that. I'm just saying that while the Rogue One soundtrack has grown on me, it just doesn't compare to the originals. Anyway, my point is simply this. John Williams is a genius who will never be replaced within the Star Wars canon. End of story. Period. And you know what? I didn't even touch upon his other great works. Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, Superman, and one of my favorites, the Lost in Space TV theme. Yeah, he did that one too. So, what are your favorite works by John Williams? Be they Star Wars themes or something else? I want to know. Email me at 12parsekspodcast@gmail.com or connect with me on any of my social media accounts. Links can be found on my website, 12parsekspodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Utini!
You've been listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, part of the expanded Fandomverse network of shows. For links and show notes, visit our website, 12parsekpodcast.com. Follow Less Than 12 Parsecs on Twitter at 12parpod, on Instagram at 12parsekspodcast, on Tumblr at 12parsekspodcast, and find us on Facebook as well. And please let us know what you think. Email us at 12parsekspodcast@gmail.com.